Hey YouTube, welcome to another edition of Todd Tinkers with Tech. I thought I'd do a follow-up video to the unboxing of this HP Thin Client T740. This little guy right here. And I thought I would dig into it a little bit and upgrade it. Got some RAM I'm going to throw in it. Got a 1 terabyte SSD. And let's have a look. So I just wanted to show the size difference. So this is the T740. And this is an HP T530. So if I stack them on top of each other, you can see that they almost have the same footprint. So that's the 530 on top, 740 on the bottom. You can see in the front panels, the larger T740 has the 2 USB ports, whereas the T530 only has 1 USB port, 1 USB-C. We've got USB-C on the 740 as well. So if we look at these back panels, you can see that the T530 on the top has a VGA port. The 740 on the bottom has 4 display ports. It's also got 4 USB ports over there to the side. The T530 has 2 display ports and the VGA port there. And also has 4 USB ports, but in a different configuration. The T740 here also has these large expansion windows, I guess, maybe I'd call them. But anyway, that's the difference between these two machines. They're almost identical. It'd be hard to tell, but the size really gives them away. The T740 is much taller. I use the T530 for my NAS. I just have some USB 3 enclosure hooked up to this. And this is a great super low power machine for a NAS. I recommend it for that. It's great, but it's a pretty super low power processor. It's not a Ryzen. It is AMD, but it's I think it only has 2 cores, but it runs at a very low TDP. So let's have a better look at the back of the machine. There you can see those panels that are removable for the PCI card, and the smaller one is for Wi-Fi antennas, I suppose. This particular machine did not come with Wi-Fi, unfortunately. A little bit of a bummer, but I guess there's probably plenty of cheap Wi-Fi cards I could add to this, and Bluetooth as well. No Bluetooth on this unit as is. So here's that panel you can remove and get in there, and that gives you the some info on the machine. Not particularly useful. It's kind of bizarre that they engineered this whole like window thing, but it just kind of snaps back into place there. So to get into the machine, there's a little tab here on the left side, in this case, and it just kind of pops off, and there you can see the inside of those cutouts. The Wi-Fi one looks like it might be actually kind of hard to punch out, but the PCI one looks like it'll come out easily. So you hit this green tab here, and that allows you to pull off the top panel. So it's pretty easy, pretty nice engineering from HP. Easy to get in there. I'm not sure what exactly this is showing on this card. I don't know if it's some sort of panel that's supposed to go under the PCI card, if you're like some sort of shielding thing, I think, for underneath a PCI card if you install one. So here's the RAM. This is the RAM that came with it. Samsung. You can see there's 2 4 gig sticks, PC4 3200. So next I'm going to remove the 128 gig SSD that it came with. I, for one, have never heard of Solid State Storage Technology Corporation. It seems like it might be European. I'm not sure, but I've never heard of this brand. Made in Germany, it seems. So if we take a closer look here, you can see the 3 slots for internal storage and Wi-Fi. There's the Wi-Fi slot, and then SATA and NVMe. The 128 gig that this machine came with was a SATA drive. And there you can see the all-important PCIe slot, full size, or not full size, but you know what I mean. It's a normal slot in the back there. That's where this thing is kind of interesting. So it's limited to a half-height card, single slot, and I believe it has to be a power rating of under 50 watts. So here's a look at the processor cooling fan. You can see it's pretty much a laptop style blower fan, and you know, this thing does have a tendency to kind of get loud on occasion. It's not super quiet. It's a pretty substantial fan in there, but it does the job. So I ordered some RAM from eBay for this machine, and this is what showed up in the mail. PC4 19200, which is 100% not what I ordered. I ordered DDR4 3200, much faster, but this is what I got. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in anyway and just see if it boots up. I contacted the seller. They apologized. They're offering me to, exchange it for the proper one that I ordered, but that's going to take some time. So I'm just going to go ahead and install this slower RAM and see if it works. So let's see what happens. So here's the 1 terabyte Western Digital SSD I'm going to install on this machine. It's an SN770. Picked it up on sale at Best Buy, and it was pretty reasonable. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's not the slowest either. Has pretty good ratings from my understanding. So let's throw it in here. It definitely should be a ton faster than the SATA drive that was originally installed in this machine from the factory. So it should be a pretty decent speed improvement on read and writes with this NVMe drive versus SATA. All right, so we've got the 16 gig RAM upgrade and the terabyte SSD upgrade installed. So now I guess it's time to see if this thing boots up. One thing I didn't mention is that this came with a 90 watt power supply. So if you're going to be using that PCIe slot, you're definitely going to need a larger power supply, at least if you're trying to power a graphics card. Obviously, if you're not powering a graphics card, you're probably good with the 90 watt normal power supply. But anyway, let's see if this will fire up. Okay, cool. It looks like it's posting. We're into the BIOS, and cool. It is recognizing our 2 8 gig DIMMs, so recognizing 16 gigs of RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a Windows install USB drive in here and see what happens. Cool, so Windows recognized the 1 terabyte SSD drive and installed successfully. I'm not going to make you guys sit through the Windows install because, as always, it takes forever. But got Windows fully running on this machine. Windows 10, of course. I'm not a big fan of 11. So I installed Spec-E on here. This is just a look at some of the specs of the machine. So everything looks pretty good, as it should, no issues. But here's where I ran into some issues, and that is trying to install the drivers for this machine. I went to the HP site, downloaded the drivers from there, and I got this cannot continue error due to an unsupported operating system. Not really sure what that's about. I had to go to the AMD site and dig around quite a while, and eventually I figured it out that this was the driver I needed. I'll leave a link in the description so that you don't have to hunt around for these drivers if you have one of these machines. So I went ahead and ran some benchmarks just to see what kind of power we could get from the internal Vega 8 GPU, and as you can see, not great. I figured as much, getting 11 FPS in this Furmark benchmark, so not the best. Here's the Unigine Heaven benchmark, a little bit better, 22 FPS, still not great. And here's the Unigine Superposition benchmark, and again, the little iGPU is struggling to keep up with this, so yeah, a little disappointed from the Vega 8 graphics. I was hoping they might be a little faster on this little machine, but it was not to be, but oh well. So with this HP T740, the big question is, what kind of graphics card can you install in here? Obviously, most other cards you'll probably be okay with that are half height in terms of networking cards, or even, I don't know, SATA expansion card or something like that. But most people are going to be concerned with what kind of graphics card you can throw in here. And that's a bit of an issue just because of space constraints and power constraints. Apparently the HP card that was an option for this machine was only a 35-watt card and wasn't any more powerful than the Vega 8 graphics that are built into this. I was looking through my parts bin, seeing if I had anything. The only thing I have is this old GT 1030 half-height card. And this is a really old one. It only has GDDR4, not the GDDR5 that the newer ones have. So this is a real dog. And from what I found online, that basically this GT 1030 is going to be about as fast as the Vega 8 graphics that are built into the chipset anyway. So, but just as proof of concept, why don't we go ahead and try and see if it'll boot with this thing. But from what I've read also, this thing can't handle anything more than 50 watts. So to be able to install this GT 1030 I had lying around, I just had to remove the bracket, just a couple screws to take that off pretty easy. And thankfully the card slid right in, no issues with the little fan. It fit in quite nicely. Here's how it looks from the back. Obviously, it would be better if I had a half-height bracket for it, but it still works as is. So I just have to be a bit careful when plugging in the HDMI here without that proper half-height bracket. Kind of the card slides around a little bit, so I'm just being careful to reposition the card in the slot after plugging the HDMI in. And look at that, it booted. Wow, cool. I didn't think it would boot. I'm still using the stock 90-watt power brick, so I'm kind of surprised, but didn't complain at all. Going to change the primary display to the 1030 card in the BIOS here and reboot and just make sure that it's recognized in Windows. And I'm going to go ahead and launch Spec-E here and just have a look. And sure enough, it sees my Nvidia adapter. So that's pretty cool. I'm not going to bother installing the drivers for it and testing it, but this is more just proof of concept that, you know, that the PCIe slot does work in this HP T740, and that is pretty cool. I was googling around trying to find what the best option might be to install in this thing, and it seemed like the best thing I could find was a Quadro P1000. And they're on eBay, they're around $100 these days, I think. But that should be able to be installed in here. It has a pretty low TDP on that card, but I'm curious if anybody else has any other thoughts. Another option is the Intel Arc E310. There's only one card that'll fit in here, made by Sparkle. And from what I understand, the fan is a real issue on that card. Everyone seems to be complaining that the fan just makes a nasty racket on it. But I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what kind of graphics card might you be able to install in here, and any other cards as well. So that's going to wrap it up for this video on this HP T740 Thin Client. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Please hit the like button and give me a subscription. I would really appreciate it, trying to build this channel. And with that, have a good one.